You know that moment, you're in a store, you see a 30% off sign, and your hand just automatically goes for your phone's calculator? Yeah, we all do it. But what if I told you that's the slow way? Well, today we're going to unlock some super simple mental math tricks that'll make you feel like a total percentage genius. Let's get right into it.
All right, let's start with a little challenge. Take a look at this. 61% of 80. Could you solve that in your head in, say, 3 seconds? Give it a shot. So how'd that go?
If your brain just did a little backflip, don't worry, you are not alone. Most people would find that really tough. But the trick to solving it in just a few seconds is surprisingly simple. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to do it.
Okay, so before we get to the cool hacks, we gotta lay down one simple foundation. Once you really get this one core idea, the tricks aren't just something you memorize. They actually make perfect sense.
You know, the whole secret is hiding right inside the word itself, percent. It comes from the Latin per centum. Per basically means out of, and centum means 100. Think century or how many cents are in a dollar. So percent literally just means out of 100. Even the symbol, the little percent, kind of looks like a jumbled up 100, reminding you what it's all about. So all a percentage really is a fraction in disguise. And it's a specific kind of fraction, one where the bottom number, the denominator, is always 100. So look here, 25%, that's just another way to write 25 over 100. Or as a decimal, 0.25. It's all the same number, just wearing different outfits. Okay, so here's the main takeaway, the one thing you absolutely have to remember. Every single time you see a percentage problem, it means you're going to have to divide by 100 somewhere. That is the key that unlocks absolutely everything else.
All right, foundation is set. Now for the fun part, the magic trick. Let's learn the hack that solves that first problem in just a few seconds. The secret isn't about being a faster multiplier. It's about making the numbers you have to multiply ridiculously easy to begin with.
So here's the core of the trick. We know we have to divide by 100, right? Well, think about it. What's 10 times 10? It's 100. So instead of doing one big clunky division by 100, we can just break it down into two super easy steps. We just divide by 10 and then divide by 10 again. And this lets us shrink the numbers down before we do the hard work. So let's go back to our original problem. 61% of 80. Watch how simple this becomes. First, we take that 80 and we divide it by 10. Boom, we get 8. Easy. Next, we take the 61 and we divide that by 10. That gives us 6.1. So now our difficult problem has turned into a really simple multiplication. Just 8 times 6.1. And 8 times 6.1, well, that's 48.8. And there it is. That's our answer. No messy, long calculations. We just did 2 tiny divisions and 1 simple multiplication. See? It's that easy.
Let's do one more just to make sure it sticks. This one's even easier. How would you solve 80% of 70 using this exact same trick?
You got it. We take the 80, divide by 10, that gives us 8. Then we take the 70, divide by 10, and that gives us 7. Our problem just went from 80% of 70 to the much friendlier, what's 8 times 7? And we all know our times tables, right? 8 times 7 is 56. Do you see how powerful that is? We just took a problem that might have made you stop and think for a second and turned it into something you've known since elementary school.
Okay, so that first trick is a total game changer. But what happens when the numbers are still kind of weird? Well, for that, we've got another amazing tool for our toolkit. I call it the Genius Switch Around.
The rule couldn't be simpler. A percent of B is the exact same thing as B% of A. It means if a problem looks awkward or difficult, you have permission to just flip the numbers around.
Just look at this example. Trying to figure out 16% of 50 in your head? That's not fun. But what happens if we use our switch around rule? The problem becomes 50% of 16. And suddenly, that looks a whole lot easier, doesn't it? Because we all know what 50% means, right? It just means half. So, 50% of 16 is just a fancy way of asking, hey, what's half of 16? Which, of course, is just 8. And here's the cool part. Because of our switch around rule, if 50% of 16 is 8, then 16% of 50 has to be 8. The answer is the same, we just took an easier path to get there.
So there you have it. In just the last few minutes, you've picked up some seriously powerful new mental math skills. Let's do a quick recap of what's now in your brand new toolkit.
So, first we have our foundation. Percent always means per 100. Then we've got the instant trick. Just divide both numbers by 10, then multiply them. And for those really awkward problems, you've got the switch around. A% of B is the same as B% of A. You see the theme here, right? The whole goal is to make the problem simpler before you even try to solve it.
And honestly, this is the most important thing to remember. Doing math fast in your head isn't some magical gift you're born with. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, it's all about learning how to use the right tools for the right job.
So the next time you see a discount sign or you're trying to figure out a tip, don't automatically reach for your phone. Just pause and ask yourself, which one of my new tools can make this simple? You're going to be amazed at what you can solve right there in your head.